Yeah, let's talk about identity.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting topic. I'm glad that you wanted to talk about it because it is like, when I was first going through this process of learning about myself, I think I had to sort of smash everything I thought I knew about myself, or everything that I did identify
Yeah.
as or with, or everything I thought I knew about myself, right?
Yeah.
And sort of through that process, like really, like I think the one thing that I was able to determine for sure is that I was an alcoholic. And I was able to do that through a number of different ways. Like the first thing that became immediately clear to me was once I looked at all the evidence I had, and I had to purposely go through and examine these different areas of my life and decide that it would appear, based on the evidence that I myself have found in my history and my past and these situations and certain things that I did to myself, to my loved ones, and the situations I found myself in due to the nature of the illness. I am truly an alcoholic.
Right.
And for a long time, and maybe even still, that's the only thing I know for sure about myself. Like I prefer to keep it that way.
Okay.
Like I don't want to build my identity around too many things that I'm not open minded to change.
Yeah.
I just know that me identifying as an alcoholic is the one thing that it keeps me in a healthy mind frame, so I know what I can and cannot have in regards to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well put. I mean, you mentioning that, it makes me think, gosh, it's so unwavering, the alcoholic that I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I can, grab a hold of what you're saying, I identify as an alcoholic. I don't see any chance of me ever drinking successfully.
Right.
Based on like what you were saying, the attempts that were taken in the past, it seems like that is completely unwavering. The fact that I am an alcoholic based on my behavior, the way that I behave once I start ingesting alcohol, and I'm the same way. I started identifying as an alcoholic based on the evidence that was laid before me.
Mm-hmm.
People
Mm-hmm.
made suggestions and they said, if you drink like this and you have this outcome, you might be an alcoholic. But that's up to you to decide.
Right.
You decide. And if you're not ready for that, maybe go do some more research. And when they told me to go do more research, what they meant was, if you need to go out and drink and use more to get a full understanding of what happens to you when you use and drink, then go do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't die
Right.
because you're loved, but you might. That's what happens to alcoholics. And so it's so interesting that alcoholic doesn't waver within me, right? Like there's no changing that, where my identity as far as like my beliefs go, I'm willing to change. I'm willing to adapt and move through those things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they're not as harmful, or I'm willing to grow upon that.
Sure.
Like the alcoholic part of my identity is so fucking harmful that I'm not willing to even play with that.
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
Here it is. I identify as an alcoholic based on my behavior through my past. Okay, let's move into solution,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the solution part of that, I've had many different identities within the solution of alcoholism, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so coming to that, it's kind of a fun little ride, building a new identity in this new way of life is fun. Prior to getting sober this last time, I was shit.
That was your identity?
That was my behavior, and I could identify, I identified my life as a struggle, and my pain defined me. There was a lot of stuff that I kind of considered as, just the hand that I was dealt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I was, I'm never going to get it. I'm a slow learner. I'm not a very good reader. I'm unhealthy. I'll always be fat. A lot of negative identities that go along with prior to this movement and recovery that I'm in now over the last several years. And so, I gained an identity before I got sober this last time. I've always had an identity. I just didn't know what that was. I didn't know what to call that, right? I didn't really necessarily labels or my identity was whatever my identity was whatever action or behavior I was engaged in.
Sure. Okay.
Right. And so when I was a kid, when I was born, and I've shared about this before, when I was born, I was given my identity. I was given my name, I was given my religion, I was given my social standard, I was given all these things. And then I grew up and started getting interested in my own thing, and I started gaining an identity there. Just trying to find my own way.
Sure.
Just trying to find my own way. And my identity was highly influenced by the people around me.
Right.
As it is, and I think maybe as it is still, but, coming into being able to identify as broken, was a big help for me. I could take the stories of other people and the way that they looked at themselves and the way that they corrected themselves, and I could gain an understanding about how I could relate with that. Right? How I could relate with the way that they were talking about how they felt in their brokenness. And relate identity. I could identify with another person through their alcoholism and their struggle through trying to get sober and not being able to. Gave me the ability to step back from all my previous identification and start from square one based on the evidence. I am alcoholic.